Good evening, everyone. I want to talk to you today about something that we all encounter at different stages in life, whether it's in relationships, friendships, or even situations that challenge our self-worth. It's about the belief that silence, withdrawal, and keeping our distance will somehow make others realize our value. We often hold on to the idea that by staying quiet, by pulling away, by not reaching out, others will miss us. And then they'll come running back. But here's the truth. Your silence won't make him miss you. Now, I know that might sound harsh, but it's important to understand why. We live in a world where communication is more than just words. It's an exchange of energy, intention, and action. When you're silent, you're not giving the other person the chance to understand your feelings, your needs, or your worth. And when you're hoping that your absence will create longing, what you're really doing is denying yourself the clarity you deserve. It's a passive strategy, and often it leads to disappointment. The reality is silence can be misunderstood. It can be seen as indifference, distance, or even a signal that you don't care. But here's the deeper lesson. You cannot force someone to miss you. Here's why. Relationships are built on communication and effort, not silence. If you want someone to understand your worth, you have to be vocal about it. Silence might make you feel like you're preserving your dignity or playing hard to get, but it's not the foundation of a healthy, meaningful relationship. If you want someone to value you, show them what you bring to the table. Let them see your brilliance, your uniqueness, your heart. Don't hide it in the shadows, thinking they'll find it on their own. Your silence doesn't define your value. Your actions and self-respect do. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that by pulling away, you're creating some kind of irresistible mystery. But the truth is, your worth isn't something that someone else has to realize after you've gone. You are valuable whether you are in someone's life or not. Your absence should never be the measure of your value. You don't need someone's recognition or acknowledgement to feel good about who you are. You deserve someone who sees you fully, without games, without silence, without manipulation. You deserve a connection where communication is open, where your needs are heard, and where the relationship thrives because both parties invest in it. If you believe your silence will make someone appreciate you, you are selling yourself short. You deserve a love, a friendship, a bond that comes from mutual understanding and effort, not from waiting around and hoping they'll come to their senses. Action creates change, not waiting. If you want someone to understand how much they mean to you or how much you bring to the table, don't wait for the right moment to speak. Create the moment. Take action, express yourself, set boundaries, and show your love and value. If someone values you, they will appreciate that effort. If they don't, they won't miss you when you're gone. They'll just stay indifferent, and you'll be left wondering why you played this game of silence to begin with. Let silence be a sign of peace, not punishment. Your silence should be a reflection of inner peace, not a weapon of manipulation. When you stay quiet, do it because you're at peace with yourself, not because you're hoping someone will come to you. Your silence should be for you, not for them. I want to talk about something that is at the core of every meaningful relationship: communication and effort. These two pillars hold up the foundation of connection, trust, and love. Whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, or a professional bond, the strength and longevity of any relationship are determined by how well we communicate and how much effort we invest in it. Without these, even the strongest feelings can crumble, and the most promising connections can fade away. Let's break this down. First and foremost, communication is the lifeblood of any relationship. It is the channel through which our thoughts, feelings, dreams, and concerns flow. Without it, even the closest of relationships will start to wither. Think about it. How can someone understand what you're going through, what you need, or what you want, if you don't share it with them? How can trust be built if you don't express your vulnerabilities, hopes, and fears? Good communication doesn't just mean talking. It means truly listening. It means creating a safe space where both people feel heard and understood. It's about being honest, but also being compassionate. Sometimes communication is about saying the hard things, even when it's uncomfortable. And other times it's about being silent, not to ignore, but to actively listen and empathize. A relationship built on poor communication is like trying to build a house on a shaky foundation. Eventually, cracks will appear, misunderstandings will arise, and resentment will build. But when communication is clear, honest, and open, even the toughest of challenges can be overcome. Misunderstandings are resolved, and any tension that arises can be addressed before it grows into something more damaging. Communication without effort is like a car without fuel. It may start, but it won't go very far. Relationships require effort, the kind that's consistent, intentional, and selfless. It's easy to get complacent once a relationship feels secure, but it's the consistent effort that sustains it. Effort is the small things we do every day to show the other person that we care. It's waking up early to spend quality time even when life is hectic. It's doing things that may not be convenient for us, but are important to the other person. It's the little gestures of love, appreciation, and kindness that speak volumes without words. Effort also means being willing to put in the work during the tough times. Every relationship goes through difficult patches, whether it's a miscommunication, a stressful period in life, or a disagreement. The effort you put into navigating these times is what will determine if your relationship strengthens or falters. The effort isn't always grand gestures. Sometimes it's simply sitting through a tough conversation and being willing to compromise, to meet halfway, and to grow together. Now, here's where it gets interesting. While communication is crucial, effort is just as important. You can communicate your thoughts and feelings all day, but if you're not willing to put in the effort to show the other person you care, it won't mean much. Similarly, you can put in the effort, but if you're not communicating effectively, the effort may be misinterpreted, or worse, go unnoticed. For example, in a romantic relationship, saying "I love you" is important, but what's even more important is showing that love through actions. It's not just about telling your partner how much they mean to you. It's about making time for them, being present with them, making sacrifices for their happiness, and helping them grow. It's about making sure your words match your actions. In friendships, the same principle applies. You may tell your friends that you care, but it's the little things, the phone call when they're having a tough day, the surprise coffee, the time spent together that keep the bond strong. It's easy to let friendships slip away when we don't make the effort to nurture them. But the effort we put into these relationships is what keeps them alive. When communication breaks down or effort fades, the effects can be devastating. It might start small, perhaps a miscommunication here or a missed opportunity to connect there. But over time, these small things add up. Silence turns into distance. Indifference replaces attention, and before you know it, the relationship begins to crumble. The most heartbreaking part is that often this erosion happens not because of one big blowout, but because of a slow, steady decline in the investment both people make. One person withdraws, the other doesn't reach out, and suddenly the emotional distance grows wider. This is why communication and effort are so crucial. They are the safeguards that protect the relationship from falling apart. The effort you make to keep the connection alive, the honesty you share to keep misunderstandings at bay, that's what will ensure that your relationship not only survives. Finally, relationships that are built on communication and effort grow. They evolve. People change, circumstances change. But a relationship based on mutual understanding and continuous effort will adapt and flourish with time. It won't be stagnant. You'll both learn new things about each other, make new memories, and create new experiences that bind you closer together. Every effort you make, every honest conversation you have, isn't just about solving a problem or keeping the peace. It's about strengthening the bond you share. Over time, these moments of connection will become the foundation upon which you can weather anything life throws at you. I want to talk to you today about something that affects all of us at some point in life, the notion that our silence somehow defines who we are, our worth, or our value. Too often we internalize silence as a reflection of our self-worth, assuming that if we're quiet or if we withdraw, others won't notice us, or worse, won't value us. We hold on to the belief that by staying silent, we are protecting ourselves and that others will finally see us and recognize our value. But let me make this clear. Your silence doesn't define your value. In fact, your worth has nothing to do with your silence or your ability to make noise. It is rooted in the essence of who you are, in the things you contribute, and in the power you carry within. Your value is intrinsic. It cannot be diminished by a lack of words, a moment of retreat, or a period of solitude. Let's break this down. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that if you don't speak up, if you don't make your presence felt, if you don't shout to the world who you are, then you're invisible. But the truth is, silence doesn't equate to invisibility. It doesn't mean that you're any less valuable. There is a misconception in society that loudness equates to importance or worth. We often feel like we need to raise our voices, be seen, be heard at all costs to matter in this world. But the reality is, silence can be powerful. Silence can be a moment of reflection, a time to recharge, a space for clarity. Just because you're not speaking or actively participating doesn't mean you have lost your value. Remember, diamonds are valuable even when they're tucked away in a jewelry box, not constantly on display. You don't need to be loud or flashy to have worth. Your silence is simply a tool, a moment of pause, and it should never be mistaken for a reflection of your value. Oftentimes, we associate silence with weakness, thinking that if we don't speak up for ourselves, we're somehow failing or being passive. But in truth, silence can be a form of strength. It takes strength to remain composed, to step back and assess the situation, to give yourself space to think before reacting. Silence doesn't mean you're surrendering or lacking courage. It often means you're choosing to approach the situation with grace, wisdom, and discernment. Some of the most powerful people in history spoke little, but acted with intention and clarity. They understood that words can be valuable, but sometimes saying nothing says it all. When we are silent, we are not necessarily weak. We may be choosing peace over conflict, reflection over rash decision-making, or patience over impatience. Your silence in these moments is a testament to your inner strength, not a sign of weakness. One of the most important lessons I want to leave with you is that your value is not something to be earned, demanded, or defined by anyone else. It is not contingent on being loud, on being outspoken, or on having the ability to always be on. Your value is intrinsic. It is something that exists regardless of what others say, how much you speak, or how much attention you get. You are valuable because you are unique, because of your talents, your heart, your thoughts, your contributions, and your potential. Your value is not a measure of how much you say, but of who you are at your core. If you choose to be quiet, that doesn't mean you are any less worthy of love, respect, or success. In fact, it can mean that you have learned to embrace your own strength. It takes immense confidence to know that you are worthy regardless of whether others are validating you in the moment. Your silence is not a void to be filled. It is a space where you can reconnect with yourself, renew your sense of purpose, and tap into your own power. When it comes to defining your value, it's not about how loud you speak, it's about what you do, how you show up, and the energy you put into the world. Sometimes the most impactful individuals are not the ones shouting the loudest, but the ones whose actions speak for them. You may choose to remain silent in some situations, but your actions are the true expression of your value. How do you treat others? How do you show up in the world, not just in words, but in deeds? It is through our actions that we leave an indelible mark on the world and on the hearts of others. Think about the people you admire most. They might not always be the loudest or most vocal, but they are impactful because of how they live, how they inspire, and how they bring goodness into the world. The value you create in the world is not defined by how often you speak, but by the impact of your action. Too often we let external factors, other people's opinions, past experiences, the noise of the world, dictate our worth. We forget that we are the ones who define our value. It's easy to get caught up in the need for validation from others, to think that if we're not constantly making noise or being noticed, we're somehow less important. But the truth is, you define your worth, not anyone else. Your silence does not diminish your value. If anything, it is an opportunity for self-reflection and clarity. It's a chance to reconnect with yourself and understand the true source of your worth. You are worthy of respect, love, success, and happiness simply because of who you are. Whether you're loud or silent, whether you're in the spotlight or not. The most important thing is that you recognize your value internally and let that guide you. Your silence, your quiet moments, your introspection, they don't make you less valuable. They make you stronger, more self-aware, and more aligned with your true self. Deserve someone who truly sees you. It's so easy to get lost in the hustle of life, to feel invisible, or to settle for relationships that don't fulfill us. We all want to be understood, valued, and cherished. We all crave someone who looks at us and sees not just the surface, but the real, raw, beautiful complexity beneath. But here's the reality. You deserve someone who sees you for who you truly are. Let's take a deeper look at what that means. Being seen is not just about physical presence or superficial acknowledgement. It's about someone understanding the essence of who you are, the dreams you're chasing, the fears you carry, the parts of you that you may have hidden for fear of judgment. How often do we find ourselves in relationships or friendships where we feel like we're being overlooked or misunderstood? We share pieces of ourselves, but there's always a part of us that feels unseen, unheard, or unimportant. But here's the thing. You are worthy of someone who takes the time to understand the things that make you, you. The person who sees you doesn't just look at the surface. They dig deeper. They understand why you laugh the way you do, why you carry certain burdens, why you react the way you do in specific situations. They see the history in your eyes, the strength in your scars, and the beauty in your vulnerability. You deserve someone who pays attention to all of you, the parts you love and the parts you may not be so fond of. When someone truly sees you, they understand your complexities, and they appreciate you for everything you are. When someone truly sees you, they don't just acknowledge you, they value you. They don't just see your presence as something to fill a space, but as something that enriches their life. And here's where we get to the heart of it. Being valued goes hand in hand with being seen. In the same way, you should never have to beg someone to value you. You should never have to chase someone to notice your worth. If someone doesn't see you for who you truly are, they will never appreciate the beauty of what you bring to the relationship. The person who sees you values your time, your energy, your heart, your mind. They appreciate the unique qualities that you offer, and they know that you are not just another face in the crowd. You are a rare and special soul. You don't have to shrink yourself to fit into their world. They will make space for you to exist, to grow, and to thrive alongside them. You are worthy of a love where you are cherished, not overlooked. So often we convince ourselves that we need to be perfect to be loved or valued. We hide our flaws, our vulnerabilities, our scars. hoping that the person we are with will see us as flawless. But here's a beautiful truth. The person who truly sees you doesn't just love your strengths, they love your imperfections too. None of us are perfect. We all have our insecurities, our struggles, our flaws. But the person who really sees you will look past the superficial aspects of what society defines as perfection and will embrace the totality of who you are, flaws and all. They will see your fears, your mistakes, your learning process, and they will still choose you every day. Being seen means being accepted for who you are, not for who someone wants you to be. It's about knowing that your mistakes don't define you, and that you are worthy of love regardless of them. It's easy to feel invisible sometimes, whether it's in a relationship, in a friendship, or even in the workplace. We pour our hearts into people, into situations, only to feel like we're giving more than we're receiving, or like our efforts go unnoticed. We start to wonder, why doesn't anyone see the real me? But here's the truth, you are not invisible. You are not meant to live your life being overlooked, underappreciated, or dismissed. The right person will see you, they will see your worth, your light, your essence, and they will love you for it. They will notice the little things you do, the quiet acts of kindness, the moments when you put others before yourself. They will see the way you light up when you talk about your passions, and they will love you for every bit of yourself you are willing to share. You are not invisible, and you should never settle for someone who fails to see you. It's easy to feel invisible sometimes, whether it's in a relationship, in a friendship, or even in the workplace. We pour our hearts into people, into situations, only to feel like we're giving more than we're receiving, or like our efforts go unnoticed. We start to wonder, why doesn't anyone see the real me? But here's the truth. You are not invisible. You are not meant to live your life being overlooked, underappreciated, or dismissed. The right person will see you. They will see your worth, your light, your essence, and they will love you for it. They will notice the little things you do, the quiet acts of kindness, the moments when you put others before yourself. They will see the way you light up when you talk about your passions, and they will love you for every bit of yourself you are willing to share. You are not invisible, and you should never settle for someone who fails to see you. In all of this, there's one thing I want you to remember. Before anyone else can truly see you, you have to learn to see yourself. The journey of being seen starts with self-awareness and self-acceptance. If you don't see your own worth, how can you expect someone else to? You must first understand and embrace your value, your strengths, your flaws, your uniqueness, before you can attract someone who sees and values you for all that you are. When you know your own worth and step into your power, you stop settling for less. You stop tolerating being overlooked or underappreciated. You stop giving yourself away to people who don't see you, and instead you hold space for those who truly recognize your beauty. So, stop waiting for the silence to do the heavy lifting for you. Don't hold on to the hope that by being distant, someone will magically come to appreciate you. Instead, focus on expressing who you are. Let your presence be loud enough that it doesn't need silence to be noticed. Know your worth, speak it, live it, and let anyone who can't see it walk away, because there is always someone who will. Your silence won't make him miss you, but your confidence, your strength, your ability to be unapologetically you, that will make them respect you. Thank you.